What's up, everyone? My name's Alex, and I use he, him, his pronouns or am, heirs pronouns, and I am going to talk about whether or not femininity is important to me. Specifically, I want to talk about if femininity is as important to me as masculinity is, because I did talk about masculinity. That is going to be linked on the end card for this video, or at least I'm going to try to remember to put that on the end card. But I did cover masculinity, and I wanted to talk about how, masculinity is important for me for passing as male. But I also I have some experience with femininity, but it's a little bit different than my experience with being masked. So that's what I want to cover today. And yeah, before I get into it, I guess I'm doing okay. I hope everyone else is doing all right. It's a new year. The last identity talk video that I recorded was recorded the previous year, which sounds like it was forever ago, but it was recorded ahead of time, like a couple months ahead of time, I think. So it's a little different than this video is in energy and in how I am introducing the videos now. So that's a change to the channel. But I'm hoping to get more involved with this channel. I'm hoping that people are finding value in this channel, because I want to do so much on YouTube, and hopefully grow some kind of supportive and inclusive community for myself and for anybody who watches this channel. So my relation to femininity, to start, I talked about layers of identity, where it's like kind of masculinity being at the core of my identity, in the sense that that is what I rely on to pass as male. Like, that is like baseline part of my identity, where everything else, being a man, calling myself demi-boy, those are layers on top of that core. And then just the thinnest layer on top of that of my experience and, I guess, experimentation with femininity. And when I did the video, I talked about how being femme has nothing to do with my gender at all. I am not trying to pass femininely. I'm not trying to pass as a different gender other than man. So it is something, it's a disconnected part of my identity. I consider that to be the queer part of my identity, besides my sexuality. But I consider the gender nonconforming part of my gender to be the queer part of it. That's where, like, maybe I'll call myself gender queer, and that's what I'm referring to, is that, like, there's some days where I just feel more feminine, or feminine leaning neutral is usually how I go. But it has nothing, it has no bearing on my gender otherwise. Like, it's just a fun little separate part of me, I guess. So the ways I present femininely, or at least try to, I'm still kind of experimenting. Painted nails. I do not have all my nails painted. I have one blue nail. I guess I could explain that in a different video at some point. The cardigans that I showed off in my video where I showed off my closet full of clothes, that was when the couch was over here and I recorded it on the couch. And I took the mic with me so that I could talk while also, like, recording. That was quite a video. But I talked about, like, clothes that I recently bought that were a little more feminine than usual. Women's cardigans. Used to have the long hair. I no longer have long hair. I have chopped all my hair off. But my hair's kind of messy. I just threw a hat on, so you don't get to see my hair today. But I used to have the long hair either just in a ponytail, or I'd put it up in a bun. I do own one dress, and I wore it once, and I've also worn makeup, not at the same time though, but I have done both, just to see, like, what it's like. And I even put them on Instagram, which was brave of me, I guess. It's hard enough braving public bathrooms, and one day I just decided to wear a dress, and then another day I decided to wear makeup. That is terrifying. I've never worn that stuff out of the house, by the way. I don't know if I'm that brave, but yeah, never in public. But I do have some very feminine clothing, and I mean, I guess that's the extent of it. I've talked about gender nonconformity, and I had a video about gender nonconformity and what I wanted in gender nonconformity. And I remember talking about how like I would love like long cardigans and to be able to like wear more feminine clothing in that sense. And I mean, later on in the year, I ended up doing just that. It's been quite a year for experimentation. So the breakdown here is being feminine a source of euphoria for me. I consider euphoria to be directly tied to my passing as male, like gender presentation in the sense of like passing as male, using gendered language like man or dude or sir, whatever, using masculine pronouns or what I consider to be masculine pronouns for myself, using he, him, his pronouns. But the intention of femininity isn't to pass, but it's a way to express queerness outside of my malehood. So, like I said, separate part of my identity, where the being able to pass as male is a source of euphoria for me. So in that regard, it's, wow, how do I explain this? So I mentioned somewhere in a video that like there's a sense of euphoria in passing well as a man and still being able to dress femininely and not get misgendered. Like there is, at least in my experience, I do not speak for anybody else but myself. That is also a source of privilege for me. Like I can pass as male and also experiment with different gender presentation without it having any bearing on how people view me as a man. Other than a couple questions like, oh, like you got a nice like soft feminine side. But other than that, I like it's kind of complicated. It is sort of a source of euphoria, but not in the sense that the femininity changes the way that I pass. In fact, it only highlights that I can pass as a man and still dress femininely. So in that regard, I guess you could say that it is a source of euphoria, but not in the sense that I am trying to present different as a different gender or that I have any kind of target gender I'm trying to pass as if I'm wearing feminine clothing. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't think it's a sense of euphoria in the same kind of context though, that like other people usually consider euphoria. The whole like feminine leaning neutral look that I go for, I guess is kind of my statement saying like, this is my expression of queerness, not me being trans or like anything like that. I mean, my sexuality, maybe, I can consider that self-queer. I consider that like a very normal part of me. So I don't usually call my sexuality queer, but, I consider the way I present as an expression of queerness. So that's why I guess I dress femininely. And, you know, like I said, it's a way to play with gender presentation while still passing. And I guess my hope is that like I don't come off as someone who's trying to, you know, I'm not trying to have an expression that says both or neither. It's layers of identity, just like that video that I talked about. I am not trying to be more than one gender. I'm not trying to be another gender. Though I guess I've considered non-binary terms that are completely separated from the gender binary, but that's another video entirely. But yeah, I mean that's basically my my explanation of it is that it's an expression of queerness for me to be able to dress that way, and I could see myself dressing very femininely, not flashy, just elegant. Feminine, I guess, is a word, for like pride events. I would love to do that, but never outside of that. And I don't even know if I'd be able to take pictures. Like, I'm not sure what I would do with that, but that would be quite an experiment, is showing up to a pride event in like feminine clothing and showing it off. I do go out in public in the long cardigans and my nails painted and everything. I always have the facial hair. I always kind of look more masculine in that regard. So it's quite an experience, I guess. So really, my closing statements: the femininity is really just a preference of style, but it is an expression of queerness. I think that is the bottom, like the baseline, like explanation of it, expression of queerness. Important for expressing that queerness, being masc, important for passing as a man. So the masculinity is very much tied to my gender, whereas femininity is not. There is a certain level of validation, like I mentioned before, in passing as male and still being able to present kind of femininely. The only issue with that is that, like, I would feel dysphoric if people were assuming I was trying to ungender myself by dressing in a gender non-conforming way. That is not my goal, and hopefully that's not like... I really don't want people to make assumptions that I'm trying for something neutral or ungendered or androgynous. I kind of came up with a word. I don't know if anyone else has ever talked about this, but instead of misgendering, I call it degendering, where people are going to hear the word non-binary or see that I'm presenting in a gender non-conforming way, and people will automatically switch to ungendered language and using they them pronouns. That would actually make me very dysphoric. So that is not my goal, is to be degendered in that way. So there's a struggle to successfully being feminine while also maintaining my malehood, I guess, is what I'm trying to explain. So my question for this week is, what is your experience with being masculine or feminine? And do you present in a different way, like neutral or xenic or epicenic? Sorry, people don't say androgynous. I did say that word in the video, but epicenic, epicene, that's what I meant. Like, what is your experience with gender presentation? How does that tie in with your gender, if at all? Feel free to leave that in the comments, and I will be here to talk about... I'm touching my face too much, but I will be here to talk in the comments and just kind of have a discussion, because I love talking to the community. I love talking about gender and finding relatable aspects in other people. I think that's really nice. So I guess that's it for today. I am recording this the day after solstice, and it's been a heck of a year. Did not do a lot of celebrating holidays. Haven't really had the money for celebrating holidays. I don't like mentioning money, but I didn't do much of anything yesterday for solstice. Like nothing like real big or like decorating or anything. Usually I do every year, but this year's been pretty turbulent, but there's also been a lot of good. This channel came out of 2020. I mean, I started it in 2019, at the end of 2019, but it's been a really good long-term project for me. And I think that is good for me. It's good for my brain. Like, I'm finding things to do during quarantine, and finding ways to keep my brain focused, which is really nice. But that's all I've got. I hope everyone is being safe, and I hope everyone's enjoying the content. Let me know if you want to see anything else. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about. I have a long list of identity talk topics, but I really I would love suggestions from the community. And I guess with that, I am signing off for now. See you later.